Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dao. Patch 9.15 is finally here. Well, as soon as the servers are done with maintenance. And with the new patch comes class changes. While this isn't a major content patch, none of the 0.5 patches really are, it does offer a lot of quality of life stuff, Legion time walking, but there are also some class changes that you should be aware of. In this video we'll go over every single class change, covenant change, legendary change, and PvP adjustment for all the classes that we play in Shadowlands right now. If you guys enjoy the update videos on the channel and you're part of the people that are, most of you, not subscribed, subscribe to the channel as well as hit the bell. This is the most current updated list of all the changes so far, but don't be surprised if we miss a few things because Blizzard might sneak in a few things before servers go live. First of all, a lot of abilities are no longer going to be hard capped. Instead, Blizzard is changing a lot of the AoE damage and abilities to be soft capped. Take the ability of Bladestorm as an example. Normally Bladestorm is hard capped to 8 targets, so if you're doing a dungeon and there's 10 enemies nearby, when you Bladestorm, only 8 targets will take damage from your Bladestorm. But with the changes with 9.15 where abilities are no longer hard capped but rather soft capped, you will still be able to do 100% of the damage to those 8 targets, but target 9, 10, 11 and 12 will also take damage from Bladestorm just at a reduced value. Any target beyond the 8 target soft cap, like 9th, 10th, 11th, the more enemies you add into the ability, the less damage all of them will take. What this means is more AoE damage and better performance within Mythic Pluses for a variety of different specs. As we get to the class buffs and nerfs, I will mention which abilities are receiving a 5 target soft caps and which abilities are receiving an 8 target soft cap. Also, before we dive into individual class buffs and nerfs, we should talk about covenants very quickly. None of the covenant abilities that are non-class specific has gotten any term or tuning within PvE content. In PvP, however, Fleshcraft has gotten nerfed slightly. It'll now absorb a maximum of 30% of a target's health in PvP instead of 40. As the match for your battlegrounds and arenas is about to begin and the doors finally open, if your Fleshcraft is bigger than your 30% of your health, the shield will readjust right as the doors open to make sure there's no cheesy health things that people can do. Starting off with Death Knight as a first class, we're seeing Abomination Limb, Necrolord ability, and Frost Scythe being part of a 5 target soft cap. Sacrificial Pact, Consumption for Blood, Bone Storm for Blood, Burst and Swords for Unholy, and Reanimated Shambler are going to be a 8 target soft cap. The Kyrian ability for Shackle Unworthy is seeing some damage nerfs, but it's going to be a more guarantee to spread to multiple enemies in AoE situation. They also made Abomination's Frenzy legendary a little bit more consistent, where instead of having to grip enemies in with the Abomination Limb, it just needs to be able to do damage to the enemy. The Nightfake Conduit Withering Ground has gotten buffed by 50%, same thing with Impenetrable Gloom for the Venthyr Covenant, which are both conduits above the actual Covenant ability damage. Blood Death Knight saw buffs within Consumption Talent by 60%, and Debilitating Malady Conduit has gotten massively increased. As for PvP, Death Knights are seeing Death Goal damage increase by 30%. Abomination Limb no longer interrupts Death Knights that are channeling abilities. Frost Death Knight Frost Strike is increased by 30%, and so is Virulent Plague for Unholy Death Knights. For Demon Hunters, Blade Dance, Glaive Tempest, Soul Cleave, and Spirit Bomb are now going to be a 5 target soft cap, with Fell Barrage becoming an 8 target soft cap. Sinful Brand of the Venthyr ability now has a shorter cooldown. Blind Faith Kyrian Legendary Power will now grant you versatility instead of mastery, and 10 Fury when a lesser soul fragment is consumed while Blind Faith is active. Havoc Demon Hunter Dancing with Fate Conduit damage has been buffed by 300%, and there were also a handful of Demon Hunter bug fixes as well. For Druids, Swipe and Brutal Slash are now going to be part of the 5 target soft cap. Adaptive Swarm range is now 50 yards instead of 25, and it could jump back to friendly targets. For Feral Druid, Adaptive Swarm will now gain bonuses from Tiger's Fury, as well as a couple of conduit bug fixes. For PvP, they made it where thorns can no longer reflect towards enemies if they are further than 10 yards away. Adaptive Swarm bonus to healing effects has been nerfed by 5%. Strength of the Wild now is reduced in terms of the critical strike chance it has to heal an ally. Grove Protection Radius has been significantly increased. Keeper of the Grove now gives Druid complete immunity while Tranquility is channeling, and Floral Recycling Conduit buff has been nerfed by 50%. Hunters can now tame a lot more pets than ever before. Abilities like Beast Cleave, Multi-Shot, Explosive Shot, Carve, Butchery, and Soulforge Embers Legendary are now a 5 target soft cap, with Barrage for Beastmaster and Marksmanship receiving an 8 target soft cap. To revive your pet, it now takes a little bit less time than before. When Death Chakram tags an enemy, it'll increase all physical damage done by you and your pet to that target by 10% for 10 seconds. The Venthyr Covenant ability will deal additional damage when it initially hits the target, and the initial hit also has a chance to give you a free proc of Kill Shot. All these changes also came with a couple bug fixes to improve Hunter's survivability. In PvP, Medbat can no longer be dispelled by magic effects. Bestial Wrath damage increase has been nerfed to 20% in PvP. And Marksmanship Hunters saw Arcane Shot, Aim Shot, and Rapid Fire damage buffed within PvP combat, as well as a couple other bug fixes. For Mages, we see Glacial Fragments Legendary becoming part of the 5 target soft cap, as well as Arcane, Echo, and Frozen Orb becoming part of the 8 target soft cap. Gift of the Lich Necrolord Conduit has gotten buffed by quite a bit. Frost Mages has gotten buffed as well, with Icicles, Frostbolt, and Flurry all doing extra damage. For PvP, Mages are seeing a nerf towards the Triune Word or the Triple Shield Legendary. They also fixed it so that Mana Gem for Arcane Mages can actually be used within PvP situations. You can no longer remove Arcane Power and Icy Veins with a Dispel within PvP scenarios, which should hopefully make Arcane Mages and Frost Mages a little bit stronger in PvP without having to dodge certain classes that can simply dispel powerful cooldowns like that. For Monks, we're seeing Spinning Crane Kick, Russian Jadewind, Fist of Fury, and Russian Jadewind Windwalker become part of the 5 target soft cap. Chi Burst will now deal reduced healing beyond 6 targets. Majority of the monk changes have to do with the Venthyr Covenant ability getting buffed in a couple of different ways. The short version can read as the monks that you summon should be more consistent in terms of the main spec and the off-spec monks that you summon. The Ox Adepts will now throw a brew at yourself to give you a shield for 8 seconds. The Tiger Adepts' Tiger Palm damage is increased by 200%, and they will also use Spin and Crane Kick when more than one target is present. The Way of the Fae Nightfit Conduit has also gotten buffed by 100%. For Brewmaster, we've seen Special Delivery getting a significant buffs, but also the Ox Adepts of the Venthyr Covenant ability, when they use Breath of Fire, it'll now benefit towards your stacks of the damage reduction that you get from Breath of Fire. For Mistweavers, majority of their changes have to do with the Venthyr Monks or bug fixes, but the Venthyr Monk summoned with Crane Adepts should be a bit more consistent. For Windwalker Monks, Spinning Crane Kick debuffs can now be applied to less people for more damage, so you can stack that buff faster. When you use the Venthyr ability as a Windwalker Monk, those monks also get the benefits of Spinning Crane Kick bonus, as well as a couple other bug fixes. For PvP, monks are seeing Bone Dust Brew deal 33% less damage within PvP combat, and for Windwalker in particular, Dance of Chi-Chi will now do 150% of damage in PvP instead of the 200. For Paladins, Divine Storm is now going to be part of the 5 target soft cap. The Necrolord ability of Vanquisher's Hammer bonus effect for free Holy Power ability has gotten buffed by 25%. The Righteous Might Necrolord Conduit also got significantly increased as well. Blessing of Seasons Nightfare ability, Blessing of Spring will now increase your healing done by 15% instead of 10, and healing taken by 30% instead of 20. Blessing of Winter will now reduces the hostile target's movement speed by 5% instead of 3% per stack, and its damage has been increased by 40%. For Priest, we're seeing Festering Transfusion Necrolord Conduit of healing and damage buffed by 100%. We're also seeing Divine Star and Halo become 6 target soft capped. Halo healing has been reduced by 20%, but Divine Star healing will now be independent of the outgoing and the return trips. For Discipline Priest, Divine Star damage has been increased by 40%, Contrition healing increased by 15%, and Shadow Covenant healing increased by 10%, mana cost reduced, and duration of the debuff lowered to 7 seconds. Holy Priest also see Divine Star damage increase as well. And for Shadow Priest, Surrender to Madness duration is now 30 seconds instead of 25. Psychic Link talent now deals 60% of Mind Blast damage instead of 50. For PvP, most of Priest buffs are for Holy, with Flash Healing, Flash Heal, and Renew all doing extra healing within PvP scenarios. For Rogues, Secret Technique is now part of the 5 target soft cap, while Phantom Knives, Crimson Tempest, Black Powder, and Shirk and Storm are part of the 8 target soft cap. Toxic Onslaught Nightfate Legendary has been redesigned. When Sepsis expires in a target, you're granted 2 of the following effects for 10 seconds. Those effects can be Shadow Blades, Adrenaline Rush, or Vendetta applied to your target. The buffs and the debuffs depend on your current spec, so if you play Subtlety Rogue with Shadow Blades, that means the buffs you'll get from Sepsis are Adrenaline Rush and the Vendetta debuff on your Sepsis target. The Nightfall Conduit of Septic Shock has also been beefed up by 50%. Outlaw Rogue's Dreadblades talent will now have initial damage of 26% more, and will immediately fill your column points as part of its additional effects. For PvP, they fixed a rogue invisibility bug where if you use Shadowy Duel while buffed up by Paladin's Blessing of Protection. For Shamans, the changes are pretty small. Storm Elementals, i.e. the Storm ability, is now part of the 5-target soft cap. Elysian Dirge carrying Conduit has gotten buffed by 50%. And for PvP, Shaman's Unleashed Shield talent has been changed where Earth Shield will now have a longer root, and Lightning Shield will knock enemies further. For Warlock, we're seeing Felguard's Fellstorm from Demonology Warlocks become part of the 8-target soft cap. The Warlock Venthyr ability Impending Catastrophe is now a little bit thicker and wider, and it will deal a first tick of its periodic damage once it impacts the target. Decimating Bolt Necrolord ability is now a 2-second cast instead of 2.5. The Kyrian ability Scouring Tithe instant and periodic damage both buffed by 20% and cast time reduced down to 1.5 seconds. Languishing Soul Detritus, the Kyrian legendary power, critical strike bonus increased to 45% and now grants the Warlock 33% movement speed buff and a 15% critical strike chance increase when the Scouring Tithe dot expires. Demonology Nether Portal now has a 2.5 minute cooldown instead of a 3 minute cooldown. For PvP, Decimating Bolt buff to Demon Bolt, Shadow Bolt, and Incinerate can no longer be dispelled. For Affliction, Deathbolt will now deal 50% of the remaining damage over time, but can no longer critical strike and will reach the target faster. Rapid Contagion duration is now 20 seconds instead of 15, and Dark Soul Misery can no longer be dispelled to be more consistent in PvP. For Destruction Warlock, Bonds of Fel will no longer snare the target and no longer will split the damage with pets and guardians, and also Dark Soul Instability can no longer be dispelled. For Warriors, the following abilities are part of the 5-target soft cap: Whirlwind, Cleave, Ravager, Dreadnought, and Protection Warrior Ravager. The following abilities are part of the 8-target soft cap: Bladestorm for both Arms and Fury. The Warrior Venthyr Conduit Harrow and Punishment has been buffed by 50%. The talent of Impending Victory cooldown has been reduced and it now heals you for 40% of your maximum health. For Arms Warrior, Merciless Bone Grinder Conduit has been buffed by 100%. And Warbreaker will now extend the duration of Colossus Smash if it was gotten from Enduring Blow Legendary. Fury Warriors are seeing the auto attack damage increase by 43%, as well as a buff towards Hack and Slash Conduit. For Protection Warriors, the Venthyr Legendary Sinful Surge will now extend the duration of Avatar by 2.5 seconds instead of Last Stand. And for Warrior PvP changes, Elysian Might Legendary Critical Strike damage bonus is reduced to 15% in PvP. And that's going to be all the changes we have for our classes. Now, there's most likely going to be some at the last second right before servers go up. If there's anything notable, we'll definitely cover it on the channel, but I do hope you guys enjoy this video and this update. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see all of you in the next video.